أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين يا رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope all of you are doing great and have been following the lessons that I've been uploading and getting the hang of it, inshallah. Today, inshallah, we are going to cover the last characteristic of an ism, which is its number, that is its quantity, whether it's singular or plural. All right. So that this lesson is about the introduction, because in terms of this number, there is slight difference in the Arabic language. All right, so in this lesson I'm only going to give an overview of what this difference is, all right, and what are the different kinds of plurals in Arabic language. All right, so let's begin our lesson, and before doing so, let's ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us out and to ease these concepts for us to teach as well as to learn. So Rabbi Yasir, Wala Tu'assir, wa Tammim bil Khair, Amin Ya Rabbal Alameen. Alright, so this is an overview of our lesson today, and it says types of plurals. Okay, so what do we see here? We see that there are three types of numbers, of course, and an ism can either be singular or it could be plural. That's what we know from our English concept of plurals. Okay, what's different in Arabic is that there are two kinds of plurals. Either it's going to be double or it's going to be more than two plurals. Okay, so either it's going to be one house, or it's going to be two houses, or it's going to be more than two houses. Okay, now I've made three houses here because it's either three or more than three houses. All right, so this is the Arabic concept of plurals. Either one, which is singular, two, all right, which is double, and then double plural, and then finally we have the actual plural, which is your our concept of plural. Okay, so that's more than two, or which is more than two. All right, so three and onwards is plural. We're going to study the terminologies in this lesson too. All right, so in this overview I just wanted to tell you that there are three kinds of numbers. All right, or an ism may either be singular, double, or it could be plural. Now there are further two classifications of plural. Okay, first of all, it could either be formed by the addition of a suffix, as we can observe in our English examples. For example, we have the addition of an s to a singular word and it becomes plural. Okay, so toe becomes toes with the addition of an s. Similarly, there's a suffix of ies for words that end in y. All right, so sky becomes skies. So these are the suffix ones. And well, this concept is also present in Arabic. Okay, and we are going to study it at length, inshallah. All right, the second way of making a grand plural is by giving a structural change, or as I like to say it, the skeletal makeover. Okay, so the skeleton is changed. All right, it's rearranged in a way. So what happens is that instead of adding an s to the word tooth and making it tooths, we change its structure or skeleton and it becomes teeth. All right, similarly we have the word mouse here, and instead of adding an s and making it mouses, we make it mice. All right, so the structure is, the integral structure is changed in this way of making the plural. Okay, and that's what we are going to observe in Arabic as well, because both of these ways are present in Arabic. Okay, so once again, three an ism can either be a singular in number, could be double, or three or more than three. Okay, and for plural, or the grand plural rather, okay, we have two ways. Either you add a suffix of s, or you add, or you just, you give a skeletal makeover to the word. Okay, that's what you do. So let's begin our actual lesson. We know from the overview about the difference that we have in Arabic, okay, and that's this double part. All right, for us in many other languages, English for example, that's our main language over here. So in English it's either singular or it's plural, that's it. But in Arabic it's either singular or double or plural. Okay, so that's the basic difference. Now let's move on to the next pointers. What is that? Okay, so in Arabic now we are coming towards the terminologies. So singular is called wahid, all right. Double is called musanna, all right. It's musanna, all right. So this is your musanna. And plural, that is more than two. Okay, don't confuse it with two or more than two. It's three or more than three, but it's more than two. Okay, so anything greater than two is plural. So we have, it's called jama. Okay, singular is wahid, double is musanna, and plural is jama. Once again, now jama can be of two types. Okay, and our first type is the one that is formed with the addition of a suffix. Okay, in English we have the suffix of most commonly it's s, and then some other variations such as sky becomes skies with the addition of ies. Okay, in Arabic there are certain these things, these suffixes, okay, and we're going to study them at length. Why is it? All right, so I cannot zoom it right now, but let's just see what's happening here. So with a suffix we have an example of the word muslimuna. Now we all know the word muslimun, singular, all right. It becomes muslimuna, so we see that it's kind of different. This seems to be the suffix. And we also observe that the actual word muslimun remains unchanged in this part, muslim muna. All right, that's what's happening here. So we see that the skeleton remains intact, which is what is meant by the word salim. Salim roughly translates to something that remains intact. All right, structural integrity is maintained. That's the rough translation of salim. So jama salim is the one that only makes the plural by adding a suffix and by not changing the structural integrity of the root word. All right, then that's what it says here, extension to the intact skeleton. All right, so it's like an extension. Suffix is like an extension to the intact skeleton. That's what jama salim is. All right, what's the other pattern? The other way of making plural is by giving the skeleton a makeover. So skeleton is rearranged. Now what does that mean? In English we have words such as teeth, mice, children, right, geese, all these things. In Arabic we observe the words, well, we already know the word masajidu. Okay, what's happening here? The skeleton, the actual word is masjidan. Okay, and what do we see here? We see that an extra letter, which is alif, has been added between the root letters. So technically this skeleton has been given a makeover. Okay, so masajidu, it's a special makeover. All right, so the skeleton has been rearranged, and these kind of makeovers, skeletal makeovers, are called jama mukassir. All right, so similarly we have kutubun. We all know the word kitabun. which is singular, one book. Okay, this becomes kutubun. What do we see? We see that not only have the harakat been changed. Okay, so this kaf carries a pesh here, and this the carries pesh here. All right, and not just that, but this thing has been deducted. It has been omitted, so it has become kutubun, and it is plural. So alright, it's very much like the skeletal makeover in English that we observe. So those plurals that are made by giving the root word a makeover, all right, are called Jama Mukassir, all right. Jama Salim, the intact skeleton ones, and Jama Mukassir, the skeletal makeover ones. That's how you can differentiate the two ways of making plurals in Arabic. Well, that's the same thing in English as well, as I just demonstrated. All right, so what do I say next? It says skeleton is rearranged in various ways. And what do I mean by that? Change in harakat. All right, as we can see that kitabun uh, becomes kutubun, and then we see that the harakat have been changed. All right, so Keta becomes Kutu, right? That's the change in harakat. So this is one of the ways, one of the makeovers, all right? And addition of letters to the root letters, all right? So this can be observed here. Masjidun becomes Masajidu. So an extra letter has been added over here, okay, in the middle of the root word. So I hope these two ways of making plurals are clear to you. So let's move on to the next pointer. We have different suffixes for the rafa, nasab, and jar forms, and for the feminine and masculine asma. We know that an ism is bound to have four properties: its Arab, its gender, its number, and its status, whether marfa or nakra. All right, that's what we know. So the suffixes are going to vary according to these things. All right, we are doing the suffixes for plurals. So we're going to have a different suffix for each of the three Arabic forms, and we are going to have, and I'm going to elaborate this point when we get to that section, inshallah, okay, which is next chapter technically. All right, and we're going to have a different suffix for feminine, for the feminine asma and the masculine asma. All right, so this is an important point to learn, because if we know what kind of suffix we are dealing with, then we know what its gender is, what its role in the sentence is, whether it's rafa, nasab, or jar. All right, so that's why we need to know the suffixes for all of these. All right, so our introduction has finished, and I can still, all right, I can zoom it now. So let's just sum it all up. First of all, with the terminologies, it's the same table, but I have now added the actual terminologies, okay? So an ism can either be wahid, that is baitun, okay, one house, or it could be two houses, okay? I'm not translating it here. I'm not making it musanna form, so that you don't get confused, all right, or start working how that came to be. All right, so one house or two houses, or it could be jama. All right, more than two houses, or you could say three or more than three houses. All right, so wahid, musanna, jama. Jama can be of two forms or two types. First, it could be jama salim. By salim, I mean intact skeleton, okay, which can be observed here. Muslimun becomes muslimuna. All right, so it's muslimuna. The skeleton is intact, no makeover to the skeleton whatsoever. and our English equivalent is here. Book becomes books by the addition of this S. Next, we have Jama Mukassir, where there is a skeletal makeover, alright, as a result of which the word Rasulun becomes Rusulun in its Jama Mukassir form. Alright, so we can see that this vowel has been taken off, alright, and there is no vowel here, right? So, and our English equivalent here is mouse becomes mice and not mouses, alright? So the skeleton here has been given a makeover, which is mice. Now this basic concept is important to understand, okay? That's why I made a I made a separate lecture for this topic, all right? So that in our subsequent lessons, we can inshallah proceed seamlessly. So our next lesson would be about the suffixes in musanna, both in masculine and in uh, feminine forms, all right, and we are going to study their rafa nasab and jar forms. Once we are done with musanna, we are going to proceed to jama salim, all right, and once we are done with these, inshallah, we are then going to start jama mukassir, which is technically nothing. It's just a couple of patterns that we need to understand so that we can mask the root letters over those, or we can superimpose the root letters over those patterns, and we are we get our desired Jama Mukassir form. All right, so that's all we are going to study in Jama Mukassir. So, well, that's it. And in the next lesson, we are going to start off with Musanna, inshallah. Till that time, keep on practicing the feminine forms that we did yesterday, the Rafa Nasab Injur forms, both in Nakra and the Marfa forms. Okay, know the 7 conditions of Marfa, because now we are going towards analysis of an ism, alright, and that's going to come in handy, alright. It's actually a prerequisite that you know these things so that inshallah we can proceed seamlessly. So till the next lesson, inshallah. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al Hakim. Allah Hafiz.